Hi, it's Sean. This should be part 21 of the NCC Excelsior build. So what I did is I glued in the nacelle housings, as you can see here. And a few days ago, of course, I attached the saucer. So I'm just bracing the saucer while the nacelle housings, the glue sets. I'm just going to leave it here on my secondary workbench for a few days while I finish the NX01, and then there's only about 2 RCS thrusters that need replacing, like that one. That RCS thruster is gone completely, and that RCS thruster is fine, so that's good, and I can use my remaining stripes. So if I only have to replace 2 of them, I can use set 3, the other 3, and they'll be just fine. And then all I have to do is the phaser decals, the red stripe, and the registry, and then finish the stripes along the side of the saucer, which I already have cut out from set 3. And then, believe it or not, the Excelsior will be finished. And I'm quite happy. I mean, thanks to the aid of YouTube videos like TrekWorks and Aztec Dummy, the Excelsior is complete. So that's great. And I'm even going to put the shuttle bay on the back. Just one second. Now, of course, I'm going to keep the shuttle bay detachable so that you can see the details. But when you put it on, it'll fit just about like that. There we go. But that's the detachable shuttle bay. Don't want to wreck the Aztec decals with the glue. Besides, the glue wouldn't hold. So I'm just leaving it as a detachable piece. That way you can take it off anytime you want to and see the full detail of the shuttle bay. So I'll leave the Excelsior alone for a few days now, just as it is. Good thing about the nacelle mounts, they go in vertically, so gravity will be the greatest assister for keeping them as they should look. Yeah, I'm pleased with the Excelsior. I mean, don't know why the saucer seems to be tipping up a bit. Maybe the neck didn't fully descend on the star drive hull, but if you take a look, I mean, it may be just the stripes, but it also seems like the front of the neck curves upward. Strange, because that secondary hull thing is all one piece. And there's no gap there as far as I could tell. Weird. Anyway, I'm quite pleased with the Excelsior. It's my first time building an Excelsior class ship. It's my greatest success with an AMT model kit that I built all by myself, because remember, I didn't build the 1400 Enterprise D. A friend of mine built it, but then I painted it and decaled it myself. So anyway, that's this is section A of part 21 of the Excelsior build, and I'll be back when I do the decal repairs and do the work on the top saucer. So anyway, talk to you then, and have a good day. Hello everyone, this is Sean, and this is part 22A, 22B, my mistake, of the Excelsior build. So as you can see here, I have assembled the complete Excelsior. Don't mind the green, that's just the light I'm using. So the Excelsior is complete. You can see from this angle that the saucer is not braced by anything now, but I'm keeping the books there. And today I'm going to work on the phaser decals, which you can see there. So I'm going to get some better lighting on, and I'll be right back to start applying the phaser decals. Alright, so the first phaser decal is on, as you can see here. Certainly makes it a lot brighter. So I'm going to go around and repeat that process 4 more times, and then I will scrape off that thruster that needs replacing and Maybe I'll try the thruster applications also, or maybe just the windows. We'll see. I'll be back. All right, all 5 phaser decals are on now. So I am going to install the windows next, which, as you can see on the guide, are decal number 21. And I'll come back when I've done that. I'm not going to risk trying to scrape off this defective decal until the phasers and the windows have had time to dry. So I'll be back when I put on the windows. That'll probably be all for this model for today. That'll be all for section B of part 22. Alright, so as you can see from the guide, all the window decals are on, all the phaser decals are on. So all I really have to do on the top of the saucer is the 2 thrusters that I need to replace, red sensor band, and the registry number. Of course, once I get to the registry number, I will be using the NCC version with the bigger Excelsior name. So that's all for now. Here's a good view of the top of the Excelsior saucer, front, side, back, and of course, carefully, port side. And I know you can barely see the windows, but I know they're there. But that's why I'm going to use a white hull for the NCC Excelsior. I mean, NCC's Enterprise B. I'll use a white hull for that so that I can see everything. But in the meantime, that's all for section B, part 22 of the NCC Excelsior build. We're now less than 4 weeks away from Fan Expo. Get the top of the saucer done, replace a couple of decals on the side thrusters. That'll be my project for section C. And with any luck, section D will be doing the side sensor bands. And section E of part 22, the finale of the finale, should be the completed ship reveal. So anyway, I hope you all had a good weekend, and talk to you all later, and see you here next time. Hello there, it's Sean, and this is part 22B of the Excelsior build video. I thought I would give you an update on what I've accomplished so far before I move on to the final top saucer decals. So I'm going to bring you closer to the ship so you can see what's going on, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Be right back. Alright, so here we are. Take a look at the top saucer of the Excelsior. Well, actually, take a look at the side, and you will see that I have carefully, by repairing the thrusters and filling in the gaps on the saucer rim, I have carefully filled in all the sensor strips, using the Federation Models decals, of course. I even did some patchwork on one of the thrusters to fill in a missing piece of Aztec. I used the second Aztec decal set for that. And now, as you can see, I am down to just the top saucer rings, the registry number, and the name of the ship itself. And you can see here, I'm going to do the NCC section. But what I also had to do, what I wanted to do, because I wanted to clean it up, I wanted to clean up this top section of the saucer. It was a bit dusty and dirty. It almost looked like oil streaking. Turn the ship a bit, you'll be able to see better this way, I hope. So what I did is I carefully made a mixture. As you can see from the green on the card here, I made a mixture of proper Excelsior gray so that it looks just like the primer mixed with the light gray. So I pretty well mixed the pale gray with the white and got it light enough, watered it down, and made it work. What I also did is I went into here and I did the light turquoise, did the dark turquoise, but you know, it looks a bit light. Let's see if I can darken it up just a bit. Be right back. Lightening up. You know, I try to water the paint down so it goes on smooth, but it makes it too light, as you can see. I'm going to wait till this section dries, of course, and put more on there. But in the meantime, I'm going to work on the remaining decals. And I'm going to do dry fit first and make sure the shape works, and I'll come back and show you that. Okay, this is why I do test fit. Take a look at this. The NCC Excelsior number is a bit too long for those stripes to fit perfectly as they are in the diagram in between the two lines. So everything is going to have to move out a bit for the stripes to fit. It won't be perfectly contained within the grid lines. But that's like the refit Enterprise numbers, where they had to be moved so that they wouldn't overlap grid lines but would fall within it. So I moved it slightly over to the outer edge of the saucer. So give me a moment to make the adjustment. I'll be right back. So it appears I've got it there. Just had to move the ring out a bit, but you can see it fits everywhere else. But first, of course, I'm going to test the bigger USS Excelsior number right under the phasers and dry fit that. I'll be right back with that. So there we are. There's where the Excelsior name goes. You might just shift it over a bit. But that's how it's going to work, so that the stripes come up against the number, but they don't disrupt the number. So I'm going to I'll put on the name first, and then I'll do the other stripes, and I'll come back, because I'm going to put on the registry number first and make the stripes meet it. It's the best way. Get the front center thing applied first, and then make the side stuff meet it. So I'll be back. So I had to adjust it slightly from how it was in the image, but you pretty well got it centered in the section there. Front and back, left and right, top and bottom. So there you go. And next you do the registry and the stripes, but of course the dry fit first, so you know exactly where to put the registry. So I'll be right back with the registry next. Now, I realized I'm going to have to put all three on at the same time so I don't get anything wrong. So I moistened everything. We'll just see how it goes, and I'm not going to do that on camera. I'll come back and show you the result when it's done. So I've got the picture. It shows how the letters are aligned. I've got the stripes moved out to the appropriate section. I think that's as good as I'm going to get, so I'm going to bat everything down there and get it all blotted and dry. Okay, so there we go. Everything's dry. It's centered as per the diagram. So there's just a little bit of the two overlapping the center line, just like in the diagram. The C is entirely within that hull section there, just like in the diagram. The other C is entirely within its section. The N is overlapping almost, not quite halfway, but again, remember I had to shift it out a bit to make it balance, so the O is bisected, the 2 is, the N is bisected, mostly. And if you look at the 2 versus the X overlaps that line slightly on the right of it. The 2 overlaps the line slightly on the left of it. That center line in goes right there. So I'm happy. Got it done. Top saucer is done, and with that the all the decals are complete on the ship. All I really have to do now is flip the ship over and do any repairs that are needed. That's going to be a few days away, of course. I don't want anything to disrupt these decals now, so I'm just going to take the books away and do a slow turn of the model so you can see all sides, and I'll be right back with that. Alright, so here we go. Got the Excelsior on its stand. You can turn the Excelsior around carefully. Even turn the stand so you can see the name of the ship. And then turn the ship to the side so that you can see it in profile. There we go. See? That's great. So I'm going to let all the decals on the top saucer dry. Let the ship rest and sit like this for a few days, because now it's just small paint corrections like the top of that nacelle and of course the underside of the saucer and the underside of the impulse housing, and I may have to darken up there. We'll see what it dries to. But overall, I'm quite happy. I mean, the Excelsior's finished. It took about 3 months, off and on, of course. I did work on the Enterprise NX-01 refit during that time. But you see the Excelsior's balancing nicely. The nacelles and the saucer balance out each other's weight. Side stripes are holding, and there's the front view, so it's not disrupting the itself against the internet router. And let's see here. There we go. There's the bottom view. You can see the bottom stripe does a loop underneath the lip. It probably should have been pushed closer up, but that's a minor flaw, nothing to worry about. I will remember next time, don't paint anything in the deflector dish except the main blue, because the decal takes care of most of it. But I'm really happy though. You got the saucer on. You reinforced the neck. You got the stripe on it. It does come up a bit, but you can barely see it. But I like that blue of the stripe because it really blends in, as you can see, with the bottom decal, because that's the Federation model's stripe. But I'm going to take the phone off its tripod and see if I can get some closer views. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Here we are. So you can see the stand. You can really see the ship up close now. Try to get it to focus. Hey, I didn't know you could increase the light of the video while taking it. That's pretty good. Let's see if I can get it to focus on the ship, of course, as I slowly zoom in. It does seem to be quite blurry. I'm not sure how to fix that. Oh, you don't want to do that. That's too deep in. There we go. That's a bit better. There we go. Now we're focusing on the ship. If you zoom in really close, slowly, you can see the name of the ship in those pinstripes. And then it just went out of focus again, so I will back up, try to focus on the nacelle. I see there's the pinstripe that I put on the side of the nacelle in about 4 pieces. The only way I could get it to stay on. Rotate the ship again. Look at it from the underside of the cargo bay. You might be able to see a trace of the blue in there, probably not. But you can see the beautiful bottom decals on the Excelsior there, including the rear torpedo bay. You can see how when I did the front of the nacelles, complete with the nacelle struts and the back, I did the leading edge with just the turquoise, the desert art turquoise. And it is, indeed, when it's almost an exact match for the decal, maybe even a little brighter. But you can see how the red line managed to get it aligned from the top. It's pretty even, yeah. That decal's a bit misaligned. Don't be fooled by that. There's the nacelle. So the right side nacelle's good. Doesn't need any color correcting that I can see. Oh my gosh, this video is almost 11 minutes. And there's the top impulse housing. Here's the color corrected, matched to the bridge color, as I showed you earlier. The match to the bridge color, a mix of the wicker white and the pale gray to get the now Excelsior gray. And yeah, if that is too light when it dries, I'm going to try to put the Deco Art Desert Turquoise on there a bit darker, because as you can see, it's almost clearly an exact match for the decal, especially there where it darkened. Yeah. And you can see the pearl around the bridge. You can see the pearl here. If I shift the camera a bit, yeah, you can see the pearl color there. You can see the pearl color there. Got preserved, and this is a lot cleaner than it was. It's not actually paint smudge, that's actually a decal. That's detail in there. Look how sharp that is. That's pretty good. And you got the decals, and you got the stripes. See how they're a bit out. When they come around, they're a little bit out just so that they're equidistant from the number. Just a little bit, and then they come back into the groove. And by the time you get around here, they're just a little bit outside again. But anyway, that is the end of part 22 of the Excelsior build. As you can see, everything's all dry, everything's all complete. So part 23 will be a bit of touching up. I'm going to explain what part 23 is in a moment. I'll be right back. Okay, so that'll do it for this week. I would imagine that's the end of part 22. The end of all the decals, all the painting, all the building of the Excelsior that started, I guess it was around July 24th, off and on. I mean, I managed to complete the entirety of the NX01 refit Enterprise during that time. So when I get to part 13 or 14 of the Excelsior build and I post it to YouTube, that's when I'm going to start posting the NX01 build, because that's about the date I started that. And then of course there's the 1400 scale Enterprise B to consider. Anyway, that's all for now. I'm going to let the Excelsior dry, and in a few days after Thanksgiving weekend, I will, because we're up here in Canada, I'll flip it over carefully on the tablecloth, don't want to damage it, and I'll go over any painting mistakes, because now that I have the proper Excelsior gray, I can go over the glue smudge on the bottom saucer and paint it the proper color that'll blend in with the base coat there. And then when I put the Aztec decal down, the replacement section, no one will ever notice. Of course, I'm telling you now, but we're going to see if you know which section is the patched together repainted section when I put it on. I'm not going to show putting it on. I'm going to show it with the corrections done and see if there's a sharp-eyed viewer out there who can tell me what section I repaired. Just like on the top of the top saucer here, there's a section at the leading edge of one of these 6 thrusters where I got some decals from the second set, the Aztec decal set, and I carefully spliced in almost a triangle-shaped piece above the thruster that filled in a missing section. Anyway, I know I've said goodbye, a false goodbye many times by now, but this is a true goodbye for this week. What I'm going to do with part 23 is I'm going to post it or film it on October 23rd, because that's the day of Fan Expo, the day when I hope to get this model signed by George Takei. You can buy the autographs at the table. I already bought my ticket for the event. I booked my hotel last night in downtown Toronto at the Delta for both Friday and Saturday night, so I can be there all day Saturday. So anyway, hope you all enjoy the rest of the weekend, and any Canadian fans on the channel, have a good Thanksgiving, and see you all later.